They're located in Rockford. Oh, we are back, so I'll just finish up quickly so you can get started again. So they're
That's great.
located in Rockford, Illinois, supporting LGBTQIA. And one of the things that they've recently done is they've helped support and organize the first Pride Parade in Rockford this June. And back over to you.
Nice. Thank you very much, Phoenix. So now we're all back online, doing pretty well there. And we've got all three are in the basement, or no, two of them are in the basement. We got one Queenie still right in the fire shrine at the top. She just got one of those stones. And got both in the basement there. Looks like Axeman has took a little bit of a lead already on the top right, while Ultima is on the bottom, still bottom right, kind of dealing with those fiery floors and those lizards right there. And there we go, doing pretty well on all of this. And ooh. Good one there.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. All right. So many different lizards there. I must have gotten a good sneeze. No, it's all good. So we got those spirits now that Ultima's taken care of. They're on the top right there. Taking on the rest of those. It looks like we're getting some good checks here. Axeman is just finishing up this basement. He found another emblem as well as... Oh, can't get that last layer yet because to defeat those metal enemies, those scorpions in particular, you need to have the Zantetsu sword or the Soul Blade. Normally in the vanilla game you get that Zantetsu sword in area 5, but you can get it at any point in this, so we'll see. He just released the emblem squirrel, as I like to call them. It normally gives you an emblem, but might give you something different here. So right now he's taking a 0 HP warp there. And we'll see the others. See, Ultima is in that lizard layer right there. And yeah, one thing to note about this is, you got Leo's brush right away from the Guardian. That is one of the items required to get into the 3rd dungeon of Area 1. And ooh, we found a red hot stick. It's one of the items we need for summoning Death Toll. So good step for that path. And we'll see what else he's able to check out. And note that they cannot progress in Area 2 until they get the Greenwood Leaves. That will be what's required to allow these rafts to let them ride those over to the Light Shrine. But if you don't have the leaves, you can't pass across there. Very nice, Phoenix. In the chat there. They don't have it, they have to leave. Very cool. Already in Area 3, you can see Axeman has talked to one of those statues. Those mermaid statues are an important part because they open up different areas of the seabed. They remove those gold jukeboxes, and then you're able to pass through those. And right away, we have him in Southerta, which is the first area of Area 3. Nice little island that has a good mix of gorillas and stones that, if you have light arrow, are a lot easier to deal with, and some fish that like to jump up and shoot bubbles at you, and some birds that throw tornadoes. But we'll see what they have here. This area in particular doesn't have a lot of items, but it does have a lot of NPCs, which they still need a good amount of, especially for getting from Area 4 to Area 5. And we also have Ultima going through Southerta, and Queenie's finishing up Fire Shrine. So far, very nice dealing with a lot of those tornadoes. Now, they are level 7, which is not the ideal level. And saw Ultima found the Dream Rod from the, called the Palace Mermaid. That mermaid, when you release them, the releaser lets you go deep right to the seabed. Normally she carries the bubble clothing or bubble armor, but in this case she has the dream rod, which is very important, as it'll let a lot of our players enter the dreams of some NPCs and get some more access to those checks. And that palace also has another chest ready for them, so very good thing they'll probably check right away after they are finished with Southerta. And we can see Axeman dealing with those rocks with those light arrows. Again, light arrows, amazing spell to have. And we got more steps for Area 5. In Area 5, the NPCs you really need are 2 steps, a door, and the Guardian Marie the doll. So 4 things there to get further. And let's see. Oh, we have Queenie checking out the gem of the Emblem Fairy. So we'll see what they will get when they find all 8 of those. So, see what you got. Greenwood Leaf. So, a very good thing to have. So they must have got all those emblems right away. Usually, if you find the emblems early on, it's either going to have a path item or just an herb. And that is one thing you'll find when playing this or watching it. At some point, you'll be just finding herb after herb after herb. Very important, as they heal all your hit points if you lose all of it, if you have it equipped, but you can only hold 1 herb, and some of them will, when you find another herb, will just replace it, while others will just heal your life that you have if you're in a dungeon. But it gets into more of if it was an herb that was from a dungeon or from a town, so definitely a little more details in there. Alright, and we got Queenie going to the Light Shrine, so we have our first divergence here. And as others say in chat, is definitely the herbiest. Herb percent is also reference to a tournament that is held annually, which is a lot of fun in our community. And always fun to watch as well. So good times. And if you ever catch a race with Queen Anne B doing the commentary, definitely listen. It's a really good time. This will be really fun because we'll see what the others are missing from skipping the Light Shrine or waiting later on it. It's not a bad strategy to wait on that until you get the Spirit Sword, a weapon that's required to defeat some of the enemies in the Light Shrine. But sometimes the randomizer likes to throw at you, say, hey, yeah, here's something that you needed early on, so you should have gone here first. So, the fun decisions you have to make in this game and just commit to. So, see what this one has. And Tornado, which is a fascinating spell there. Very much an RNG spell, for sure. Great, so you can see Queenie's progressing through the Light Shrine. And look at that lizard conga line. There's quite a few of those. And oh, we have Axeman who's going further, and we can see right away, if you watch his, he was able to go past that part normally where there's a jukebox. But part of the hack, or the updates they did to the randomizer, him and Pildim, was get that jukebox moved right to that other part on the screen so that it blocks the way to Rockbird, but it doesn't block the way to Durian and Ghost Ship, which are the other 2 dungeons down here. So, big thanks to Axeman for that. So we've got Ultima Strike going to Area 4 right now as well. Not a bad strategy to go right away up the areas as you can for better experience gain, as well as in Area 4, there's a specific spot that has 4 chests that can either be really good or just a lot of either nothing or gems or herbs, but it definitely doesn't hurt to go up there and check it out. And Axeman just got himself some delicious seeds. Those are required for a check in Greenwood. there's a squirrel at one point that says, "Hey, I'm really hungry. If someone has this, if they give me those seeds." So, already we see him dealing with the barrage of birds right away. And then we have Queen Anne going further into the light shrine, as well as Ultima climbing that mountain further and further. And I am really enjoying the puns so far in chat. Thank you very much for that squirrel, that CD animal. My daughter, too much when I say jokes like that, she just says, "Bad dad joke." But that's okay. So going further on, we've got, get an eye and see what we have everybody here. So X-Man using a little bit of any percent strats to take on those up there. And he released the Watermill Keeper, a required NPC for the second dungeon of Area 2. And he already released the bridge as well for that. So he could go back and right away do that. Ultima released a vine for Area 1 that's important for finding another check around that little plateau where you'd normally get an emblem in the vanilla game. Oh, wow, what a race. And right now, Queenie's in the dark. Normally in this part of the game, if you're playing it casually, you'll find a helper soul that will light the way for you, turning that soul that's rotating around you into a flashlight. But, oh wow, she also found a vine that goes down to the Hype Cave of Area 1 that has 3 items there. Could be good or bad, but see what she decides to do. As we see Ultima continuing to go further, dealing with one of the meanest snowball I've ever seen there. But you're all doing great so far, and he's going further on along that path of layers to take on what's further on, and good strat there, taking on the enemy bats from below there on that plateau, while also dealing with that layer to his immediate right. And you'll see Axeman passed a lair that has those gray gorillas. They, like the scorpions in Area 2, cannot be defeated unless you have either the Zantetsu sword or the soul blade. So you'll have to wait and see what's there in the meantime. Ooh, so Ultima just released one of the required NPCs to get to the last dungeon of Area 1. And also the Doll Marie. She is the guardian of Area 5. You need to talk to her in order to get to Area 6. So far, very good progression. Everyone's doing great. And now this is where really it's tough to tell who's in the lead, as everyone's kind of doing their different paths. But that's where it kind of gets down to, okay, who's had some accidental defeats. And we had Ultima from that plateau find the brown stone. If I recall correctly, he probably has about 3 stones so far. So going very nice. And it looks like Axeman is chosen to go to the second area, the second dungeon of Grass Valley, Area 1. And he's going to check out what's on that plateau over there. One note. Oh, there we go. Not get that vine yet, or that ivy, to get up to that little plateau there with that little bush on there. So it'll be something I'll have to check out later. Ultima is going on further. You'll see he is pretty much going right away in different directions. If you do not have the mushroom shoes, you're going to be going whatever direction you press until you bump into something. So doing very well there so far. Got the zombie reindeer to take care of. Like to essentially, their heads like to come off and swirl in a circle until it comes back. So quite a fascinating enemy for sure. Very good multitasking there. And that is one strategy you're going to see a lot throughout this. Our runners are going to try to take on as many layers as possible at a time. That multitasking helps them save quite a bit of time. And also, anytime a layer, you step on a layer and it brings back an NPC, any layers you were working on before reset. So then if you defeated 4 enemies in a lair that had 5, and then you stepped on a lair, you'd have to defeat those ones you previously defeated. So definitely helps to be thorough on this. All right, Ultima's checking out Area 2 and Greenwood, seeing what that Shybird has. A pass. Good item that you need for Area 1 to get into a cave that has possibly a couple checks. So, has initially one, but if you release another NPC, you'll have another check. So far, a great race. And another big pearl there, and seeing some more on... Alright, so you have Ultima following the path of what Queenie had there, and Axeman is probably going to be the one showing us some new things as we go here. But might be a good time if anyone wants to read a couple donations. Perfectly okay.
We don't actually have any new donations yet, but we can talk a little bit more about what Liam Foundation has been doing lately.
Absolutely.
So one of the things they've also got going on is they've been organizing some regular ongoing meetups for Dungeons & Dragons, a support group for trans and non-binary adults, queer teen meetup, and adult peer support groups. They've developed closer networking with the Midtown community and building a network of support, and they have dedicated staff that's led to the strengthened volunteer community. They've expanded their board, and they've recently received a $20,000 grant to help provide resources and support racial healing, and they're developing social justice training and continuing education.
Very good cause. So if you all can, please donate to this amazing foundation. So we found that the Light Shrine Path also includes that sleeping soldier that was mentioned earlier in Area 6 to make sure that now if he gets up there, he has a Soul Blade waiting for him, as well as that Dream Rod from Area 3. And Axeman is going on further into Area 1, into that underground castle, and found, I like to call the greeter of Area 4. There are some NPCs that are just near the beginning that just tell you, hey, this is the Mountain of Souls, or this is the area. But they're all pretty good. And he's going further on, almost finished with the underground castle, and choosing to take on that layer down below with a light arrow. And found a dancing mouse that is in Area 5, who unfortunately has no checks, but is still an important part of this race. They probably appreciate it. And he's opening up a path backward. Nice little shortcut if needed. Which is helpful if should you choose to go back that way. Oh, he released Item Goat, as I like to call them. That fence line there has an item on the bottom right. And that gem fairy you just spoke to will never give an item. That's just part of the randomizer. So he's probably going to check that out, and we'll see what he finds. Right away, going across the bridge, and let's see. Ultima just released the helper fish. He found an herb. And that fish in the normal game, and in this one, if you talk to them, they will be a helper that will protect you from that falling lava in Durian, that volcanic place. So, and now looks like Axeman's checking out some of the checks that he found in released in Area 2. That's a bit of the pacing of this, is going through some dungeons, getting those NPCs out there, and then kind of deciding when you want to go through some of those worlds and check out what has been unlocked. So a little bit of back and forth in that. It's kind of building out, doing the work in the dungeons, but also doing the cleanup work you need. So right away, he's going into the dream of a stump. And as you can see, the text in this game has also been changed as well for the randomizer, as well as shortening up a lot of the cutscenes, which really helps, especially for those familiar with the vanilla version of this game and how long those can be. Definitely doing some multitasking there, very creative there. And that bird moving across, and then while that deer walks over. So very cool strat. I did not know that one of myself, so hey, we all learned something new today. So And he gets the Greenwood Leaf as well. So the third dungeon of this area is opened up. We'll see what he decides to do. It looks like he's going Light Shrine, so not a bad choice. And we saw Ultima is defeating the Stone Lion Heads in Area 2, the boss there. And what will be released? Dr. Leo, one of the NPCs that's pretty important in the story, but also important for opening up the 6th boss of the game. So, if people aren't familiar with the story, I'll give a very high level of it. Basically, the demon Death Toll has imprisoned everyone into these monster lairs. Why did he do that? Well, the king made a bad deal with them. Souls for gold. Didn't read the fine print and didn't see that his soul was included, so now we're tasked by the master to go to each of these areas and free everybody. So in kind of these races, there will be some people not freed, but they understand, right? So, and I mentioned before, they need to get to, ultimately, they need the equipment, they need to defeat Death Toll, they need to wake up Death Toll, they need the keys to get into his world, and they need to get all the way up to it by finding all the Guardians. So, looks like so far everybody is, their ceiling that they can get to right now is Area 4. In order to get further, they need to talk to this NPC called Gnome the Snail, and they also need to release the king that's going to be undoing the bars of the prison that he's in, as well as all the NPCs to get over to it. So Area 4 is a tough area to cross in the randomizer, since you need a lot to do that. But once you cross it, things go a little bit faster. There's plenty of stuff to check already in the other areas, so we'll see here. Checking where we got, if we have any other people trying some new stuff right now. It's like everyone is right now crossing other stuff that people have already done that we've watched. Ooh, it looks like Ultima's going towards the ghost ship. Oh, you released the shortcut there. Not a bad one to release during the randomizer. Also gives you more experience, which is always appreciated, as in this game, you need to have a certain level to swing a sword. Like Sword of Life, you need to be level 1, but when you get to the Zantetsu sword, you need to be level 16. If you can't swing the sword, you can always hold it out in front of you with the R or L button, which also holds your position. It's very useful for casting those spells while trying to keep that direction going for you. And with swinging the sword, you have a huge arc with it. You'll see a lot of players try to get the enemies within the end of that sword arc. Usually that does 2 hits. If it's within the beginning of that sword arc, you're only going to get 1 hit. And Queenie's doing pretty well there with those enemy fireballs there. Did very good. And we got Axeman continuing on there further. And the other part with holding out that sword, the randomizer might put players in a position where they have to use the weapons like that. Specifically if they're low level and get to Area 5, for example, which has a lot of metal enemies that you need to use the Zantetsu sword with. And so it'll be a lot of holding out the sword, backing up, trying to defeat the enemy, and not get touched by the enemy there. And we have Ultima released the Model Town 1, another dungeon in Area 5. And everyone's doing fantastic now. They're all found their good stride. And if there's any donations, it's also a good time for donations. Otherwise, I'll keep on going here.
Yeah, we just had a $100 donation from Saracen.
Wow.
So he wanted $80 to go to Ori to find all the wisps, and $20 to Crystalis to frame Storm.
Thank you so much. That is fantastic donation. Keep those coming up, y'all. All right, so got some more demon bats that Queenie's fighting there. They move in diagonals and then just come back. 4 different parts there. And a lot of the enemies you'll see for strategies for defeating enemies in this game is standing in one spot and defeating the enemies as they come out, or standing in specific spots in which the enemies will just stand there while you defeat them. Part of the a little bit of the neat little details of this game. But still, if you're going through, it's like, well, why aren't these enemies moving towards me? There is actually a hack out there that someone did make so that enemies don't just stay in place but keep going. But I still have to try that one myself sometime. So let's see, we've got right now Queenie still going through the path up the mountain, and we have Axeman who just cleared area 2, and we have Ultima who is going through Durian, the volcanic island there. And note that none of the 3 runners have gotten that protection soul, so those fireballs do come down. They don't do a lot of damage, but if you're trying to conserve health coming through, especially if it's an any percent speed run, they can definitely be annoying, but deal with it as you can there. So right away, Ultima choosing to defeat those enemies right up top in that lava versus stepping on that layer down below first. Now, to note about that lava, it does take a lot of damage regardless of whatever armor you're wearing, so it is important to have a good amount of hit points before crossing that. So, and we got Axeman checking out Hype Cave, which has a lot of hype, just experience and gems, unfortunately, but that's okay. He's still making great pace as he goes. And ooh, we found a red hot mirror in that durian, so players, I will assume, have both of the red hot items there, as well as 2 or 3 of those stones. Still needing to see some more of that equipment, namely the Soul Blade, Soul Armor, and Phoenix, which, okay, they already got Phoenix, but Soul Armor, where's that hiding out? We'll see here. And Ultima had a great durian there. No accidental or 0 HP warps like I had there. So I think when I was vetting this the other night, I had 3 defeats there. So very good on these runners, doing fantastic job so far. And we have Axeman going to Blester, the Island of Storms in Area 3. Normally in this one, you would want to have the Thunder Ring to defeat some enemies in this, and if I recall correctly, they might have the Thunder Ring already. So, and Ultima checking out Hype Cave as well, finding all those gems and experience. Right, and then we see things continuing on, and we have my eye up on everyone, and we have from Axeman, one of the attendants of the Queen, who unfortunately does not have any items for us. And stepping further, we have a squirrel there. And we have Ultima, who went into Leo's painting, the 3rd dungeon of Area 1, the final dungeon of it. And you need Leo's brush to get pulled into a painting that the village chief is basically found in. It's like, oh no, why is he in there? In the vanilla game, but... And he found the door there. That's a very good door of Area 5 that leads normally to the Zantetsu sword chest, but also it's just good to find right here because it leads to quite a few checks if you have them released. And Axeman's dealing with those hermit crabs there, whose shells are metallic, so you have to attack them as they move. And he found the A-leaf, as I like to call it, because that's a big word. And... that one allows you to also get some cats out of a room in Area 5 to let a mouse enter their home to find another couple of checks. So a lot of different pieces that open up different parts to get different paths to get checks. Really fun part of this for sure. So Ultima is continuing on the painting as Axeman's taking on Blester. If he has the Thundering Ring equipped, if he touches one of those gold pyramids, a bolt of lightning will come down and come out a little bit, and that is what is required to defeat the metal enemies if you do not have the Zantetsu sword or the Soul Blade. So, and he found one of the grandmas that is required for dancing grandmas, which will wake up Death Toll. First he needs to find the king and everything else there. So, not a bad Blester there for sure. And we see Ultima fighting these enemies while those pineapples, as we like to call them, are moving around. Those pineapples cannot be defeated unless you have, again, the Zantatsu sword or the Soul Blades. So this game does have a little bit of backtracking, but I think it's kind of a neat little thing in this game. Kind of a slightly Metroidvania-ish feel, but that's just my 2 cents. And Ultima also unlocked another NPC that has an item in Area 3. So, going along pretty well. And wow, Axeman found another NPC that opens up a path to the king in Area 4, so doing very well there. And all the birds today. Every single bird, all those tornadoes. There we go, dealing with that. Very good. So, and both Queenie and Ultima are still going through that part there. And Axeman just released the Grandpa that lets you go to Lake Loon if you have the Lucky Blade, which he fortunately does have. So, very well used light arrow there by Ultima Strike to check that layer there. And released another NPC that does not have a check, but that's okay. Still nice there. And you'll notice that some of these NPCs, if their home is not released, then they're kind of a floating ball. But that's right there. And we see Ultima quickly taking on the first boss of the game. Helps when you have that much more levels and a good sword, but yeah, very good fight there. And he released the lair for the Ultima. Oh, I can't speak today. He released the statue that moves the statue to let you get into the ghost ship in Area 3. So, very good stuff there. Alright. And Axeman now has opened up a path for himself further to get to, since now he's going to Area 4. He's going to be getting some more pathing going there. And we see Ultima found in the item shop in Area 1, another herb. Which, yeah, it's part of the fun here. Just being like, well, let's see what this has. Give me a stone, and herb. But part of the fun tension that this has for all the players. So, Axeman just released a crocodile that's one of the 2 required to get to a sleeping bird that lets you enter their dream and talk to normally Turbo, an important NPC in the story, but also opens up a specific section that would normally get you the Greenwood Leaves, but here gets you another check. So players are just doing very well, making clear, good decisions. Not a lot of indecision on this, just following their directions right as far as they can. That's one very good strat as well to follow on this one. And got to make a decision, just follow along with it in terms of what path you choose and just see where it takes you. Keep moving forward. So, all doing fantastically on this. And we'll see if any more divergence of the paths go. Right now, we're probably see where Queenie goes. She might go towards the ghost ship at Area 3. And Axeman is going to continue to fight in that area. And we'll see what she also releases in that spot. Yep, that floating soldier right there. So going a little bit further. Going up these conveyors, which is a feature of this dungeon. There we go. And she's going to continue to do those checks there. So. All right, and we'll see where they decide to go here a little bit further. She has not released the Watermill Keeper yet, so she cannot get to the second part of Area 2 yet. So, or second part of that first dungeon. So, that snowball over there for Axeman really wanted to talk to him there. All right, so it looks like Queenie is going towards the ghost ship as she talked to that statue, and we'll see what the ghost ship has for the players. And right now, Axeman doing a lot of multitasking there, taking on 3 layers at once. as that snowball keeps pestering them there. And going down here into almost like a coral reef. A lot of great stuff here. Definitely a bit of a maze when you're first running this game or starting to speed run this game. It's definitely a part where you kind of build up some practice to kind of weave your way through all of this maze, as every time you bump into a wall, it can cost you a little time, but all the joys of speedruns. And we'll see what she finds there. As Axeman released the left tower in Area 6, that tower normally has no items, just NPCs, but depending on the situation, it could be a very important place to check, especially if you're trying to find a particular NPC. And Queenie found one of the mermaid dance students who has to float in the ocean until their instructor gets revived. So, and we'll see where she goes as she keeps weaving through that and has some layers along the way. Ultima is clearing the underground castle as you can, and also getting that one layer down below, which normally you'd need to talk to another NPC, get into her dream, and step on the layer there to open the path to there, as well as another item. So it doesn't hurt to multitask there as you can. And Axeman is still working on the top of the mountain, taking out those reindeer as well as these mice down there. Those reindeer do open up a layer that's on the top right, but you need the mushroom shoes to access it. And that was a good layer right there. That opens up another path for him, so he could probably get to to the third dungeon of that area. And you just found the Thunder Ring, which would have been nice for Blaster. That's all right. See where he's deciding to go. Looks like he's going to Lake Loon there. So, see more stuff there. And ooh, Queenie found the blue stone. So we found another stone where that is at. So I think we know the fourth location of some places there. And she's going to take on the Skullmaster, as Axeman is on the path to Lake Loon. And she is getting that herb ready to go. She has good armor and stuff like that, so it can be a tough boss to deal with there. But she is doing very well. Good sword equipped. Do good damage to that enemy. And Axeman just found some more chests. And you'll see that boss sends out some hands, which can be a nuisance to deal with if you're trying to conserve your hit points. General pattern of that boss kind of wiggles back and forth, comes down, lets you do some attacks, and then shoots out some fireballs as it weaves back. So, and yep, not a very good NPC there either, but still worth checking out. And she got a stone in this path, so we will see all three players, or all the other two players, have to go through that. The Axeman is dealing with the bats that go in circles in this area. This place has so many bats. Those ones in particular circle around you, which can be kind of a learning experience in dealing with those quickly. If you have the light arrow, it definitely helps. There's some other spells that can also help out quickly for those as well. We'll see a lot of players, since they have light arrow, pretty much stick with that, since even in any percent or other categories for this game, the light arrow is such a fantastic spell to use. Lots of utility for it. The Axeman clearing some more layers as he goes, doing some very good multitasking, and he will be doing some great stuff there. That dolphin will open up the way to get to Lou and Ultima Strike. It looked like he talked to the other dolphin in that room to open up the underwater hype cave. So we'll be able to see what's there as he goes towards the ghost ship. And Queenie takes on Durian. So far, very little downtime. The players are doing a fantastic job. And showing us some great gameplay so far. And Axeman doing some very good creative use of the light arrow, taking on 2 enemies using those directions efficiently as you can. And you'll notice those sorcerers, those are some of the most annoying NPC or most annoying enemies to deal with in the game, because if you get too close, they'll start spinning, and then you'll have to defeat them once they teleport or get back from their teleport that they do. So attacking them from a distance is ideal. So if you do have to play the randomizer and have to go through this without magic, it ends up being a pain. So let's see if Ultima finds anything in those chests. Oh, he found mushroom shoes, so that opens up the way to the second dungeon in area 4. So doing pretty nicely there. And Axeman continuing on with Loon. Incredible. All this in the mountain. Such a good place there. So he's taking on some sorcerers as he can, as Queenie's taking on the fishies right over there in area 3 on Durian. And we see Ultima making his way up to the ghost ship. And Axeman just released another part of the path to the NPC required to talk to for go to area 5. So we'll have to see all players go to this section then. Very important one. And those slimes there are also very good to deal with at a distance. If you get close to them, they start hopping around. And they do a little bit of damage if they touch you. So usually it's ideal to deal with them at a distance there. And as he continues on further, he's opening up a nice shortcut for himself to conserve those gems. 206 is a pretty good amount to hang on to. And taking out those and getting those 2 layers in the center. Normally those would have the dancing grandmas in the vanilla version, but here, see what the randomizer has for them. And Queenie's still doing pretty well on that path up the mountain as Ultima takes on the Skullmaster, the boss of Area 3. And if anyone was has played the vanilla version of this before, you'll notice that that ship didn't have any of the fireballs going back and forth or some of the other parts happening. If you release the queen before going to the spot, that's how it'll be. But if you get there before the queen is released, then you'll see all that stuff happening there. So, neat little detail of this randomizer. And the Axeman taking on those bats, and Queenie's doing a great job there. Doing a very smart play here. She is opening up a shortcut to be able to get to that other spot a little bit faster. Very good backup strat there. And making a decision on where to go on this part. Definitely feel it there. And there we have the king has been revived. Axeman found the king in Lake Loon as the dancing grandma goes there. And also found WoW Gnome. So Lake Loon is going to be a huge part for a lot of players when they get here. And he hasn't even gotten to the boss yet. So let's see what Poseidon has. Boss has kind of a neat, interesting pattern. Will basically shoot out a tri-shot through his trident there, or a spear, and then do a couple pokes there. And if you stand still, those fireballs will just go past you there. So pretty good strat. Plenty of hit points there. We'll see how many cycles he has on this. Looks like it's either going to be a 3 or 4 or 5 cycle fight there. As Queenie goes towards Lester. I think she has the Thunder Ring, so we might see a little bit more of what Axeman might have missed there. And Ultima is also going towards Blester. And Axeman just defeated Poseidon, boss of Area 4, and released a bird that has stuff to say, but doesn't have an item for you. But I have a feeling that with all that he's found, he's going to be able to go to World 5. So he's going to be the first to get into, break that wall and go further. And the others are still doing pretty good. And you'll see, watching these races, someone take a good lead, but you can also see things just change based on decisions that happen. And you'll see Axeman's also getting his Dream Rod ready to talk to the Sleeping Mushroom. That will also open up a couple more spots for him, which include an item and another release for him. and Lake Loon. So very good plan there. And Queenie just released Hallway Grandpa, as I like to call him. The bottom right opens up that path to let you get to the king, or to Gnome, the snail that you need to talk to get to area, or to get to that spot there. So I think Axeman was doing a little bit of visual check there just to see how much he had for getting that stuff going there. So all doing fantastic work there. And we'll see Axeman go further on that. And see Ultima right away. He is at Lester. We'll see if he has the Thunder Ring ready to go. Axeman just released Corner Dolphin, which you need to get to a different NPC that has a check. And he found another herb. So again, find those herbs. There's quite a few in this game. So if you're running this, don't be surprised if it seems like you're getting a lot of those. And ooh, Ultima found another grandma. So 2 dancing grandmas so far. Very good stuff. And Axeman right away is going to the power plant in area 5. He'll be able to get in a little bit, but not too far. But he's checking this, probably checking this chest down here to see if it happens to have the item that he needs. Which he's hoping for the Zantetsu sword, at least to help him swing sword, but unfortunately it just has gems. We'll see how far he's able to get, since he can still get a little bit further. But he might have found the Zantetsu sword, and my eyes might just not have caught that at that time. So that's okay. And that's one nice thing, as Chad has mentioned, not noticing that there's a specific check in a spot. Watching these runs is a great way to learn further about what you can really do. And oh, there's the mice. Hi, mice. Those mice are basically going to be one of the most annoying in the game. They actually keep moving if you don't see them. And he found the recovery sword, which is a nice sword. It recovers hit points as you defeat enemies, but it does not defeat the metal enemies, unfortunately. So see how far he's able to go. And he's going to go up the steps. And I have a feeling he's going to go to one of the model towns, which fortunately he can defeat the enemies in, but he doesn't have that great door to get in there. So as a little bit of block there, he'll have to check out some of the areas and see where he has to go next. So, and we'll see both going back to the other 2 are dealing through Blester, clearing the rest there. And we'll see here what those have as Queenie is dealing with all those birds. So many. And that is a lot of metal apes. Wow. Now, one thing to note as well with this, compared to other versions of the randomizer in the past, is it uses a fast ROM hack by Condowantu, which does allow for some faster, less lag in some spots, but when you're dealing with a lot of NPCs like that, it'll only go so far. So we'll see how Queenie does with the combat there. Yep, she got both of those out. Awesome. We'll see Axeman going further here, getting what he can. So those scrubbing bubbles enemies, he can deal with those with magic and his sword that he has right now. However, there are a lot of other enemies that he just can't deal with, like that little bulldozer there that tried to attack him as he was on the right there. So, and Ultima is at Lake Loon, going a bit further. And we got those copters that are really like to follow you, which for better or worse there. But Axeman is doing a great job here in dealing with that there. And there's the door he's looking for, right there. Now, normally the randomizer will not make you take a path that you don't have your required item for. Like, if you're in the seabed, you're going to, if you're on the path you're supposed to be, generally you'll get the bubble armor before you explore any further on that. It won't make you go through without it. But this does make you go to some places where you're going to be amongst some enemies that you have to have the right enemy to defeat. I'm glad to see both Queenie and Ultima are in Lake Loon. That will really help them out. And Axeman just completed the path up to talk to the Guardian of Area 5, Maria the Doll. And now he's taking on the model towns. Remind me a lot back then of Gulliver's Travels. You're like the giant in this big town here and taking those on. So you have these awesome cavalry knights that are on rocking horses, as well as some other little mini red knights and some mini blue knights that are archers. However, you can also see that he's attacking what appear to be just some little spots there. There's actually invisible enemies in this that can either be catapults or these moving tall towers that shoot out spikes. So, and he found the other dancing mouse in that area. And Pat did ask, wondering if Axeman forgot that Soul Blades in Area 6. That is a good strategy to also go for that right now, but I can see him also wanting to take this on the way just to get that a bit further. So both strategies are definitely viable. And it's just so many different choices you can make in this. The way I like to think of this, there's a component that'll help you out of skill, but there's also a component of luck in the choices that you make. So I think those both equalize where you can do a great job even when you're starting out and having a lot of fun on this. So lots of fun, great community, and we all like helping each other out to learn and just grow in this fantastic game. I mean, all those different layers it has. Yep, definitely at the whims of the RNG, the random number generator. So, and you'll notice also probably through all this, the enemies have been randomized in the layers, but the pool of enemies are restricted to where they would be in that dungeon. So Axeman is not, for example, find some of the enemies that he had in Area 2. They're all going to be enemies that are available in these small towns. So, see, Ultima's taking on Poseidon right there. And Queenie is going to the lake there. Those layers can sometimes be a pain to step on. Seems like subpixels can always creep up once in a while. Definitely annoying during any percent runs or any speed runs in particular. And Axeman just released a couple NPCs in Area 6 that have good item checks normally. The Queen, usually in the original game, has an item you need to get into the right tower. And also, at one point, she won't be at that spot, and you can check her spot for another item. So, very good stuff there. And he's going to keep going through as Queenie is continuing on with that area, Lake Loon. So, doing very well. And Ultima just defeated that boss. And Axeman just released the Corner Boy, as I like to call him. So, I believe now he has the king or the path to the king, and he may have both dancing grandmas, but probably have to double check that and see, as the paths on this can be so different. But again, one of the wonderful parts of this randomizer. He's taking on that up top right section of this that will release a gem fairy that will hopefully have a good item for him. And Ultima's using great use of the spell Flame Pillar. It usually costs, I think, 20 gems, something around there. But it puts out these flames that do continual damage. It can do very well against those bats, especially if you're not as comfortable just using different methods. So, very good strategy there. And now he found Gnome the snail. So, and Axeman found another stone, purple stone. So this gamble of going here before Area 6 to get the Soul Blade did pay off a little bit, which is very nice. And there always seems to be kind of clear strategies that a lot of runners take. Some runners go as high as they can right away when that area opens up immediately, which can be helpful just to get yourself more experience faster. However, this game likes to throw at you those little items kind of interspersed in those areas that you need. And you found Bob the Builder. Who can build it? He can. just building up that castle and getting the reward of standing in front of it. King, you gotta do better. All right, so then taking on the rest of these invisible enemies to open up that shortcut out of this dungeon, and taking on, getting, wow, already at level 18, so doing pretty nice there. All right, and taking on a lot of those, getting these checks taken care of. Fortunately, found a chest that has nothing, and a cat that doesn't have any items for him. All right, he'll continue on as Queenie is taking on the left side of this area. Ooh, it's looking like hit points are getting a little dicey there. Looking for the best. Doing very, very wise play here. Kind of taking those on. Now, those purple sorcerers in particular do shots just along the line, so being in their diagonal is a very good strategy to avoid that. And Axeman is on to Model Town 2. And Ultima is going back to Area 3. And we'll see if he's cleaning up some more checks. Looks like he is. Ooh, nice. Very good. Thank you very much for letting me know on that. Axeman found the Zantetsu sword from the Gem Fairy. So, doing very well there. Now he has a much better sword from him, and fortunately he's the level where he can swing it. You gotta be level 19 to swing the Spirit Sword, unfortunately, which he does also have. And a lot of players have that, and it's been going great for them. And it's just going to continue going on there. So, probably a good time if any donations are needed to be read.
No, not at the moment, but we can talk a little bit more about what the Liam Foundation is up to and a little bit about their history.
Sure.
So the Liam Foundation started in 2015 when Phyllis Gallison's son Liam came out as transgender. So they brought a P-Flag chapter to Rockford. So for anybody that doesn't know, P-Flag is Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And Liam was the first transgender student to come out at Harlem High School. Tragically, Liam passed away in 2018, but after Liam's death in 2018, Phyllis went on to help the first Pride Month in Rockford in 2019. Phyllis has paid for transgender teens' name changes, collected small-scale donations to continue, and in 2020, the Liam Foundation was designated as a non-profit.
That's awesome. What a great foundation to donate to. You know, just definitely put your money to a great cause today. Fantastic to do. And getting back to the race here, we see Axeman just found a little kitty that's next to Queen Marie, who unfortunately does not have any items. And finishing up here in Model Town 2, you can see he released another soldier there. So doing pretty well. Again, the soldier unfortunately doesn't have any item checks. But the goat that Ultima Derp found is actually, if you have, we like to call that goat spoiler goat, but if you give them the goat's food, they'll tell you where one of the 3 items that you need to defeat Death Toll are. So it could either be the Soul Blade, the Soul Armor, or Phoenix. But we'll see if that's required to really look into. And Axeman is now going further since he has the Zantetsu sword. He's going to clear out the area of the spot here, going through the basement, taking on those enemies. And, oh, there, just released Lisa. NPC from the beginning, and also Dr. Leo's daughter. But she's the one who mentions that, or she's the one that you talk to her. Well, she's sleeping there with the Dream Rod. She will open up another spot in the second dungeon of Area 1 where you can get to another release, another item. Ultima is using the pass in Area 1 to get to the little spot behind the waterfall, or near the waterfall, and another herb, but still worth checking out. Another spot there will have another check, but as soon as he finds another NPC for that. So, looks like Queenie's going into the power plant as well, checking out what is in that item. Very good strategy. And Axeman is taking on some more scrubbing bubbles in that section of Area 5 as Ultima also comes over to Area 5. So all doing a great job dealing with this, keeping up a great pace. And getting those layers green, stepping on those. If you play the game and you have the sound on, what helps a little bit is whenever you defeated all the enemies in a layer, it's almost like a door slam. It's a good audio cue if you're trying to defeat one and move on while, keep moving as you defeat it. We just found that she does not have the doorway there yet, so it's coming back down. And checking out a different place as Ultima Derp is going on further. See what he can in this area. And Axeman is going on further through the dungeon, taking on the scrubbing bubbles. Let's see what he finds in this spot here. Oh, Queenie hasn't done this part of the run yet. The second dungeon of Area 1, so pretty good one to check out. And another recovery sword found. Nice thing about those is you can generally talk to those enemies or talk to those gem fairies, and they will also let you warp to town pretty quickly. Some won't, but there are a good chunk will. So try to check to see if, I think it was checking if that bottom left layer had some enemies he could defeat just to open up a shortcut, but fortunately did not. But thankfully he got back here pretty well before losing his hit points to keep that nice 700 gems. Good chunk of change to keep those spells going for him. And Axeman is continuing on with the basement there. He's the only runner right now with the Zantetsu sword, so doing very well. And we'll see what that layer that he stepped on. Oh, wow. That chest also has an item. Very good. And that layer is also good for anyone doing the any percent run if they want to reset the mice if some keep running on. So lots of different layers to this game of understanding and how you can utilize things. So very good stuff here. All right, and looks like he's taking on those to open up another layer. And Queenie just got Model Town 2, which very good one to have open. And Ultima is taking on what he can in the basement. That layer down there being annoyingly needed, especially since you're dealing with those copters that can definitely be persistent. And releasing that door that's needed, so definitely a bit sinister there. And Axeman continuing on with the basement, clearing out some more scrubbing bubbles. Wow, there's a lot of them. That is going to be the cleanest basement ever. And all those taken care of. And looks like Ultima is going right to the model town as well, which, as we've seen from Axeman, is going to work pretty well for him for that. And Axeman will cross the hot plates, which can make this a really tough for any percent or any other type of run. But doing pretty well. If you have the ice armor, another armor, then you can walk across it without any damage. And Ultima released the sleepy, or he just spoke with the sleepy kitty. There we go. What a good kitty. And got an herb from Marie. And Axeman just released the Deer of the Woodston Trio. If you find all three of those NPCs, then you can talk to them. They'll show you their magic show, and then you can get another item. So, going good progression here. And the Axeman is continuing to go further into the power plant. Now that he has the Zantetsu sword, he's able to defeat the enemies that are metallic, so he can get through all that. Note that you'll probably see some layers that the runners also skip during this run, and most of the time that's due to them those layers being not required because they are just a little bit, they're either a shortcut for somewhere else, and that's usually the case. And you can see he checked his sword there, make sure he's the right one. You notice those NPCs. Usually if you get to that layer and you notice that there's no enemies there, it's probably that they're all mice and they all spawn real quick. So very good observation from Axeman there. And we'll see what he finds on that layer. And whatever else here is further. More mice, of course. All right. And Ultima is continuing on with the model towns. Finding some great stuff there. Weenie continuing on clearing the second dungeon of Area 2. And we'll see how the progression goes further. And what did Axeman find in this lair? He released a boy, which also releases the fort that he has, which is the most dangerous fort ever. I keep kind of jokingly mentioning they should put a fence there, but I don't know. You can only say so much. So, navigating those spikes pretty well. And going on further here. And he's going to take on the fifth boss of the game, which is Tyndall. Now he's using a nice strat here. If you stay on one square to the boss's left, then that boss will keep moving up and down and not move onto the left or right onto these little spots there that are yellow. Those are teleportation things. So doing very well on that spot for sure. So, good boss fight there. And finding more and more stuff here as Ultima released the Queen. And going on further. And Queen Anne is guiding Monmo the Mole to her home. So, gotta walk the NPC over, and then you'll talk to them right as they're there, and then see what chest we get is a medical herb. All right. Joys of this randomizer. I think Axeman's probably cleaning up some checks there as Ultima Derp is going further on the spot here. Queen Anne making a good strat of getting some more cleanup going in the world map, as they like to call it. So, again, balancing, going back and checking those things you released versus going further on the dungeons. So, doing very well on this. She has found light armor, which is a very good armor. If basically you're indestructible to enemies for about the first 3-4-ish worlds, or areas, so it's very good. And Queen Anne just found the silver stone. Very good there. Another stone there. So players must be getting pretty close on stones. I think I've seen 5 of them so far. Going pretty well here. And Axeman is going around doing some cleanup in Area 1. Checking out those 2 spots that he'd opened up. Found the VIP card that is required to get into the next world. The right tower of Area 6, which has an abundance of items there, so very important. And Ultima taking on some more invisible enemies there, and Queen Anne taking on the stone lion heads in Area 2. So, going on further. And Axeman looks like he's making the decision of whether to clear out. Yep, it looks like he's going to clean up Leo's painting and take on those pineapples he had to leave behind further. Oh, he hasn't got to this one yet, so well, that's also a strategy that you can also do on this. Like mentioned earlier, you can kind of wait on some areas if you can until you get the item that's required to defeat the enemies there. Sometimes it works out, but sometimes the game gets trolly and says, nah, you gotta come here for this. So, but good stuff to find. And Queenie is taking on the spirits down in Area 2's Light Shrine. Very good to do. Those also give some great experience for you, as we saw her just level up. And also, if there's any other donations, now would be a great time.
We've got one donation, a $25 donation from Reed Whaley, saying, here's to an amazing marathon for an amazing cause. Donation incentive goes to commentator's choice. So, bravo, Denton, you get to choose an incentive.
Ooh. See, there's a randomizer character sprite bid war.
Let's see. So I'll just go through them for you, and you can pick whichever one you want.
Sure.
So next up, we got the Deus Ex Randomizer. So the incentive there is $80, and they'll save Jock. After
Okay.
that, we've got Golden Sun, the Lost Age Randomizer. There's a character named Bid War, max 5 letters numbers each.
Mhm.
After that, Castlevania 2 Randomizer, character sprite Bid War, Link, Zero Suit Samus, or Jason Voorhees.
Let's
After
go
that,
with,
we have... Oh, okay. You want to go with one
on
of
that
those?
one. Yeah, let's go with Jason Voorhees on that one.
Alrighty, $25 for his Jason Voorhees and the Castlevania 2 Randomizer.
Thank y'all. Already $300. Y'all are doing great. Keep up the great work on your donations. All right, Axeman is clearing out some more of the pineapples. Let's see what he finds out here. And also taking on more of the dungeon itself. So, doing a great job here. Very good strategy. And interesting to note that none of the players have gone to Area 6 yet, though Queen Anne still needs to find the door that we found was in the basement of Leo's lab. So, see how that continues to go. And Axeman found an ivy. Not a particularly useful ivy. In the vanilla game, it leads you to an old man that will tell you how to do that hold R, to move back and forth. Also good strat versus the first boss, so good thing to learn, but let's see what he continues to discover. As Ultima Strike releases Marie the Doll's cat. There we go. Has a good shortcut there. And clearing out those enemies as Ultima takes on the Rocking Horse Cavalry. And we'll see what is going to take on the Metal Mantis first. Very quick fight. And we see that Ultima wants to keep on to that 700 gems. So he's going to take on these enemies here and get that shortcut out. So looks like Queenie's continuing to search around, hoping to find that Zantetsu sword. As Axeman found King Magrid, the king who made the horrible deal with Death Toll. And also the leader we need to talk to in Area 6. All right, and finding more of those items that everyone else has found. And looks like Ultima is the first person to go to Area 6. I have a feeling he's probably going to... Oh, he found a super bracelet. Very nice. That item, when you have it equipped, will increase both your attack and defense. So, very good there. And find some more herbs. But now he can also get the Soul Blade that we were hinted about in Area 2. And yep, more herbs for him. And Queenie looks like she's looking at what she missed in Durian. Wondering if that's possibly what is up on that end. And to note, going around here, going that way versus from the right, you take less damage going across the lava. It actually opens up a pretty good spot for her. And Ultima has the Soul Blade. First person in the race to have the Soul Blade, as well as every other sword. But now he's comfortable taking on the basement of the castle, which has a bunch of spirit enemies that you need the spirit sword for. See how this progresses here, as Axeman also just got what Lisa checked what Lisa had, which, if I recall correctly, wasn't much. let's see here. And Queenie just got done, looks like she's getting close to being able to check Hype Cave. And Axeman is done with Area 1's dungeons. So all cleared out, ready to go. We'll see what Ultima continues to find in Area 6's dungeon. He just found a dog that unfortunately does not have an item check. And Queenie is now going to check that cave. So hopefully she finds something she needs. And Axeman now is doing the Monmo check, as well as other checks in Area 2. So, and Ultima just found some gems. Now he's taking on these enemies that he is fortunately able to swing the Spirit Sword, makes that go a lot faster. There's also a strat called the Sword Switch Glitch that you can use to swing the Spirit Sword a little bit faster, but lots of different neat wrinkles in this game in terms of strategies and whatnot. Alright, let's see. Will Queenie find what she's looking for there? As Axeman finds from the emblem snail, I like to call him, magic armor, which is also very nice. And I was mistaken before about the Lucky Blade. It does not have the cost of magic, it just increases your gem drops, so sorry about that. But the magic armor does have the cost of spells, so very important, good armor to have. Alright, Ultima keeps fighting down there in that basement, and he just found the Ivy that's also in Area 1, so another item check for him. And Axeman, for now, is looking around, seeing what is available there, and getting himself the Soul Blade as well. As Queenie returns from the Hype Cave, we'll see where she decides to go next. Going to Area 4. Checking if there's anything else she missed. She does have the mushroom shoes, if I recall correctly, so she can check that second area, the dungeon Lanel. Axeman is talking to the king, who gives him an herb. Axeman, I don't think has the 6th gem yet, as he did not go all the way yet up to the World of Evil. Usually it doesn't hurt to go to the World of Evil when you can. You open up the path right away and some shortcuts to help you get to the last boss faster. However, there are no NPC releases in the World of Evil, so that is a trade-off there. And we see Ultima continue on. Going further, section, taking on those magic spheres, which can be a nuisance to fight, and those snakes that sometimes you have to chase a little bit if there's a long hallway and they're going the direction of the hallway. And he released another soldier, which unfortunately doesn't have much for us. And Queenie's going to Lanel, and Axeman's now taking on the basement. Now she's on the icy hill. Enjoy that graphical effect on the side for those icicles. Yep. And Queenie is kind of gets tough when watching when someone you kind of see is not quite getting the path up, but she might find something in this area. I don't remember the other players going to this area yet, that everyone else is missing. So it's just, as long as you're going through, clearing layers, stepping on those, releasing NPCs, getting items, you're moving forward. So might be a hundo blazer for her, as we call it, but still doing a great job on this. As we see, Ultima is also clearing the castle basement, with Axeman a little bit behind as well, doing that same thing. And Ultima just released another guard that is required for taking on the 6th boss of this area, and opening himself up a shortcut to get back when he gets to that point. And you see those spikes don't do any damage to him, and that's because he's wearing the elemental mail. The benefit of that is you can walk on those spiky floors without taking damage. We just released a cat that's in Area 5, That is one of the 2 cats that you can lure with the A leaves out of that room in order to let a mouse enter their home and get those items. And Queenie just released another soldier for Area 6. So, some great stuff there. And another mermaid. So, that mermaid does hold an item. So far, so good. Getting some good stuff here. Very good fight against those spirits. One thing to know with those spirits, they can teleport. And they move in kind of a mesh. And if you stand in some safe spots, like a little square, like if you're getting attacked by one, move over a square and you probably won't be attacked. So, Ultima has that dungeon cleared and is coming back. Oh, he's got one, looks like a couple more items to check. Iron armor. Doesn't have any special benefits, but it does give you 1 defense. And Queen Anne is taking on these bats. Getting it with both, feeding them both with swordplay as well as the magic sword. And that's a very good strategy she's using right there. Defeat those sorcerers right when you're available to do that. It's frustrating when you don't have the stuff to do that part. And Axeman just found an herb, and we'll see what else he finds down here. Elemental Mail. So he too also has that. And we'll see Ultima Strike is moving to different areas just to see what else he needs to clear. As just a reminder, they need all the stones, they need all the red hot items, they need all 3 of the Soul Blade, Soul Armor, and Phoenix, and they need the path to the King and Queen, or the King, Mountain King and his dancing grandmas in order to get Death Toll summoned. So still quite a bit. We're all still doing pretty good as we approach the hour 40. Absolutely. Phoenix is also the best spell in the game. It is the only spell that can damage bosses. So if some runs are kind of neat when if you get all 3 of those items right away, kind of grind up quick and do that. And the Queenie is taking on more of Lanel. As Axeman shows a bit more of Area 2 that he unlocked. Basically, the crocodiles that you need to talk to a sleepy bird in order to get the greenwood leaves or another item check. Right, and we'll see how this goes for her. She is taking on these. Queen Anne is taking on these teleporting sorcerers again. If you can do it from a distance, it's very good. You'll also notice that as players hold out their sword, any gems that are directly in front of them will kind of move towards them. So, kind of a neat little feature too. If you defeat some enemies, but you can't reach those much needed gems, you can use that to pull them towards you. All right, and one thing to note, you can kind of see she's doing the movement without the mushroom shoes. So she's getting those back on just to get more controlled movement. And she found the mouse hole that's there too. So a little bit more of Act 5 there. As Axeman gets ready to take on, looks like taking on right tower there. Ultima Strike is continuing on with Leo's basement. Axeman, that's what he needs there. And is taking on the Horsey Knights, the bane of some speedruns that I've had. They move in kind of a chess pattern, where they move one square over into another direction, but they also do a lot of damage. So they can be tough ones to deal with combat-wise. And he released another soldier that unfortunately has no item for us. Alright, so and further, Queenie wisely using the flame pillar to take out those bats very quickly. And she released the mermaid dance instructor, so which unfortunately have no items. See what Axeman finds here. He finds a gem and medical herb. Game, you keep being the game, I guess. Being a good trolliness of this seed a little bit. And Queen just released a plant that unfortunately does not have any items for us, or any items, but does have some stuff to say. Step on that and get a shortcut back, and we'll see where she goes from there, as Ultima releases another chest of drawers for himself. And Queenie is going to continue, looks like, doing some more checks just to see if she can find that Nantetsu sword whenever she needs to progress further. And found the magic bell. That item is very useful. Well, it basically lets you cast spells without using up gems. It can be very useful if you had an unintentional 0 HP death warp, or if you had or it can also be used as a strange bottle. If you find that your character is about to be defeated, you can equip that magic bell, and then when they warp back, they will keep all the gems that they had, and you'll still have the magic bell. She also found the rotator spell, which is also good against those bats. And we'll see what is in the NPC in the top right there. As Axeman continues on and finds he's unable to talk to Dr. Leo yet. He needs both guards for that event to correctly trigger. So Axeman has a little bit of ways to check himself too. So we got Queenie checking out what's here. Getting those cats out of the way. You can see with that A-leaf, which is probably catnip or something. And then once you get them out, then they both just stand there nicely. Like all cats do. Alright, so she knows that the reward mouse that's also in there isn't there yet, so continuing on further. And figuring out some decisions to make and keeping that power bracelet on. Power bracelet's a very useful item. It helps you get some good items. As Axeman also does some more checks that he's going in for Area 3 as well, so feeling a little bit of tension here. I'm hoping Queen Anne go to the basement. Come on. Yay. Okay. Hopefully she clears as much as she can there. So, that was a little bit of tension there. All right. So you see Axeman continuing to go down further to the sea and get some more checks down there, as Ultima finds an herb in that chest near Marie. So going down further, checking what he can in this spot. So that's where things really take a wild turn in this game sometimes. It could be, like I said, you can see someone doing very well and you think, oh, they're about to do this, but then you realize that the item they need to progress into go mode is in that really obscure spot they didn't check or whatever else. So these skilled runners are doing a fantastic job so far. An hour and 48 in. It is such a joy to see where they go from here. I think right now would be a great time for donations as well.
No further donations yet, so let's... I've already talked everything about the Lehman Foundation. I've finished the one-pager. I've got nothing.
Sounds like still a fantastic cause, and
it is a great cause. Let's see if we can get to 500 by the end of this run, folks.
Yeah, let's build up that money for some really good stuff and help a lot of people out there that definitely need our help, especially this time. So, let's see here. Axeman is continuing on over to the ghost ship, and looks like Queenie, as she goes on and takes on the enemies that she can. Looks like she talked to the dreaming kitty, so she got through there, so hooray! You
Question
found the
in
meta
chat.
clicker.
What's your
Mhm.
favorite way to eat beans?
Ooh.
Our good friend Caleb. And I'm going to say baked beans are the best.
I
I'm
have
sorry.
to
Some good
agree
pork
on
and
those.
beans, you just cannot beat that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you get those, I like to have them cold a little bit, but yeah, it's just those or has to be the right chili for me to have them in a chili. But usually, yeah, I gotta have those. Like you said, Bush's baked beans are quite nummy. Shout outs
Oh,
to
yeah.
Bush's baked beans.
Baked beans are the best. And with that, we just got another donation in. Dent in your head with a $50 donation saying, best of luck to all the runners.
Cool. Thank you very much, Dent in your head. All right, so we got more exploration going, and Queen Anne, she got the Soul Blade to Area 6. Yes, she's getting up there. We have Axeman that's going around too, and we have Ultima, so everyone's pretty much caught up a bit. We have such a tight race here. This is such a fun time. I hope y'all are enjoying this as much as I am here. And let's see where she goes from here. Just checking out where she can go from there as Ultima is continuing on in the right tower. Very good strategy to go for that one. And I think right now all the players have the NPCs they need. They have the path to get to the king. They just need to, and both dancing grandmas are available. You get to World 6. Now they just need to get all the stones. They need to get the red hot items, all of them. And they need to get the soul armor. Since all three of them now have the soul blade and the soul and phoenix. And someone might have gotten the soul armor, but we'll see how it goes. And more swords happening there. More sword play, very good. And it's one fascinating strategy you'll see sometimes with those skeletons in Area 6. How some people like to take them on one at a time. Some people like to lure them all to themselves and take them all at once. Lots of different ways to take these enemies on. And we see Ultima. Oh, wow. So Ultima getting those chests as he also finds good stuff there as Axeman is in the world of evil. If you recognize that background, you might have played ActRaiser, since Quintet, the developer of this game, likes to reuse some assets once in a while, which is fine, since it also includes the grunt when your character takes damage, which is from the composer Yuzo Koshiro. So if you're playing this game and you're having a rough time, Yuzo Koshiro's cheering for you, just in the way of grunting, but that's okay. All right, so Axeman just found the harp string that's important for a check in Area 6. As Ultima continues on with Area 4, getting some more checks, and Queenie goes on with the basement, checking out what is there. And if we've all been watching, we know there's some good stuff to find, so very glad to see. And as Axeman continues on, taking on the Beelzebugs and the demons down in, or up in the world of evil, which, as y'all might have been watching and saw it revived, is like red spots in the middle of an aurora. When I was 9, that effect was so neat to see, but it's still kind of neat too. So, all right, and then we have Queenie taking on those spirits. You'll notice she's just holding her sword out. She's not level 19 yet, so she cannot swing the... Oh, wise. She used the Soul Blade there, which does more damage than the Spirit Sword when you're holding it out. So, very good strat by Queenie there. And we see Axeman opening up paths for themselves further in the world of evil, as Ultima is going on to Lanel. So, still very much anyone's race. Who knows who's going to win at this point? It's all going to be based on just finding what you need on these. As you could have all of the 33 roughly things you need and just be hunting for that last item, just in a frantic search. Where is it? Where is it? But they're all doing such a fantastic job going through, making good decisions, not a lot of downtime. That's the way to really do the best you can on these runs. And as Axeman is clearing that, just a quick shout out for the randomizer itself. If you go to randoblazer.com, you can find where you can make a weekly seed. Or, I mean, make a you can you can make a randomized ROM for yourself, as well as get invited an invite to the Discord, where there's a weekly seed for that, and it's a lot of fun. It's kind of an asynchronous race where you don't have to be all racing at the same time. You just do the seed and put in your time, and it's fun because it tracks your times as you go, and you see as how you do as you improve. So lots of fun, and that community there on the Discord is a lot of fun too. So big shout outs to everybody there. And Axeman is continuing on as he goes through there. Weenie is continuing on with the dungeon, and Ultima is finding another NPC that he needed for the boss in area 6. So now Axeman is taking on the spirits in the basement of the Light Shrine. So all doing a fantastic job here, as Ultima released what I like, the NPC I like to call the dolphin ride, since the dolphin says stand on my nose, and when you stand on their nose, they just carry you across. So really neat NPC there. All right. Looks like everyone's doing pretty well here, and it's also a great time for more donations if there's any more to read. Okay, that's fine if there's no other ones. So still got Axeman clearing out some more stuff, just trying to think of what else he needs. Probably either going to be some more red hot items or other stuff in general that he'll need, which is going to be maybe the soul armor. You might have that already. Actually, no, I think he already does have that since he was able to get through dazzling space. So I think he's just one more item away, which is probably one of the red hot items. But where could it be? So fun, frantic race as we continue on here. Everyone's doing fantastic. We got Queenie in the final floor of the castle dungeon, and Ultima almost finished up with the icy hill towards Lanel. So all doing really good runs here. So, and Queenie just released that crocodile again. Get to that sleepy bird. And Axeman, where will he go next? Where will he go? Okay, talking to the Woodston trio. As Ultima keeps going through Lanel, and Queenie opens up another shortcut for herself. And Axeman's got some goat's food, which would have been useful if he didn't have all 3 stuff. That's okay. And Ultima is just continuing on here. Definitely getting everything he can. And it looks like Axeman's going to clean up the metal enemies in the fire shrine. And it's not a bad thing to wait on cleaning those up at some point, because when you defeat those scorpions at an earlier level, it does take a little bit longer. And with these that like to move around on the walls, it does get to be a bit annoying if you're trying to find that last one. But if you get the optimal path down, it really helps. But it's just when you do the runs quite a few times, you get kind of a sense of where that last scorpion is, because there's one that likes to go all the way around the border. So definitely a nuisance when you're trying to scramble. And he finds red hot ball. Ooh, that might be go time for him. We'll see here. As Queenie is still taking on the castle dungeon, and Ultima is, I think he's still on Lanel. We see Axeman. He must have found his last thing, since he is moving on, getting to that lair. We might have our first dancing grandmas of the run so far. Alright, here we're doing so good. Very little downtime for these racers, you'll notice. Even if there's one thing they're looking for, their mind is going on to where is the next step? Where's the next thing I can check? What is helping me? And you don't see it, but they do actually have some trackers also helping them out, which can be very helpful, especially for myself with my ADHD or other stuff. Just whatever tools you need are always good to help out. And for myself, that tracker is very helpful. Shoutouts to Skarsnik for making that good auto tracker that we can use. All right. And then down further, we can see Queenie's going over to there and got the dancing grandmas. Oh, I missed that one. That's okay. All right. The Axeman is first here going to go time. It looks like there's a good chance he might be first finished to defeat Death Toll. We'll see how this continues to go here. As Ultima takes on these slimes to open up that shortcut back to that area he's looking for, and Queenie continues on with checks in Area 5. So now Axeman is ready to take on Death Toll, who says, peekaboo. Nice. That part is different every time as well, so you gotta have those fun little details that really make this special. Add that charm. So, what you doing there? Oh, there you go, buddy. Nice. A little bit of fun menuing there. And believe it or not, one of the key parts to getting these runs down too is getting the menu figured out. So, let's see here. He takes on that shortcut. And Axeman is taking on Death Toll there with his big maracas of doom. Or he has 2 staffs. But anywho, so you'll see that there's 4 flames that are going to appear. He takes them on and then he shoots Phoenix right at Death Toll's head. While Death Toll also shoots out lasers that go after him. One thing to note is if the lasers and the fireballs are both happening at the same time, it can cause some lag, so sometimes the strategy is to try to time when you take out the last flame to mitigate that lag for yourself. So far he's doing a great job taking those all out. It's usually every time you're available to, you shoot about 5 birds out to take out Death Toll. It takes about 13 cycles total. So far he's doing fantastic on that, as the others are in Area 5 cleaning up more spots there.
Want to do a quick interjection here. We just got a donation for $150, anonymous donation saying love Randomizer and good causes, and that puts us up to the 500 by the end of this run. GG's, folks. And that was perfect timing.
Yeah, great timing, as we see Axeman just took the race at 2 minutes, or 2 hours and roughly 55 seconds there. So very good job by Axeman. His time was actually 2 hours and 36 seconds. So great job, Axeman.
Hey, thanks.
How was that seed for you?
That was an interesting one.
I forgot about having to go to the basement to get that door, so sorry ahead of time. But fantastic race there.
Yeah. It's got to be close, right? How's everyone doing?
Well, so far, Queenie had to do a little bit of searching to find that door past there, since it's a little trickier with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
they didn't realize that you could get those layers without Zantetsu.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a sinister detail on the seed, but
okay.
Otherwise they're going pretty close. So
okay. Now I left a couple layers in Durian and also the Metal Monkeys in Bluster. Was there anything interesting there?
My memory was a lot better. I'd be able to tell you, but
okay. Because I never found Rockbird, and so I was wondering if Rockbird was there. And
I think I remember checking Rockbird, and there really wasn't much there either. So
I mean, there couldn't have been anything, necessary, since I never got it.
Oh yeah. So I guess definitely one thing we saw with this was that Rockbird, you're able to get to Durian and Ghost Ship without Rockbird, which normally you would need. Is that something that took a lot of time for you to get programmed, or?
It took a little effort. I had to figure out how that statue gets placed. Once I figured out where, just the right memory to tweak in there, it wasn't too hard. Like, basically there's like one change where I move where that statue is, and that's it. Like, it's not so that it wasn't too tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's definitely appreciated by a lot of us since it definitely opens up a lot of the pathing that can occur. So thanks again for your
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
work
we
on
got to
that.
see. Yeah.
Uh, as we see that now Ultima's going to Area 6, and looks like he might. I'm trying to recall if he took on the Winged Demon or not, but it's like he has all the stones he needs. But
Oh.
going on to the conversation that I don't know if it was the Hulk or Orphis, who also worked on the randomizer, if they were the ones that shortened all the conversations for these, for the cutscene.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the conversation shortening was done before I did anything. They
Very
did
much
a
appreciated.
interesting job with that. Yeah, they didn't get the like for all the good that shortening the conversations is like making the text faster. It's probably actually more speed.
Oh yeah, I think the difference between the any percent for Japanese versus US from text speed alone is almost 7 minutes.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's a lot.
uh, thankfully, when they got to Illusion of Gaia, Quintet was like, okay, we'll make the text speed really fast. So, let's see, and let's see what Ultima finds with the Demon Bird. They're taking on that boss. Oh, good, interesting strategy there. And this is also a boss that where the RNG really comes out to rear its ugly head if things get
Let's
rough.
count it out. That's 2.
Yep, so that was 2 swoops so far. That's the big thing to count here. So, able to get that other part there a little bit faster. Oh, looks like he needs to get one more cycle there. And I think he's got it here. There we go. Good job, buddy. And you find an NPC with no item check. That's okay. Still doing great. Looks like Queenie is checking out Model Town 1. Still doing pretty well. We're going to get those items. That's one conversation I was glad that was shortened was the one with Lisa afterwards. So very good. And going on further. And it looks like Ultima might be going towards the world of... Oh, wait, no, he can't go to the world of evil yet. He doesn't have King Magrid, so...
Oh, where was he? He was an interesting...
Yeah.
Was it a model? No, it was Leo's painting, right? Has Ultima been there?
Yeah, it was one of the metal enemies he had to clear there, so...
This is good though. He's gonna get his red hot here.
Yeah. I think this was the last check I had when I was running this the other day.
Yeah.
I had this and one other seed I tried, and the one I found earlier, it was almost too easy for y'all. It had like, I think it gave you decent armor and then the recovery sword, and I was like, oh, let's try one more.
Too
and then
easy.
I found this, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good one. So
okay. Now we had a lot of those disappearing statues in Act 2. Like, how did everyone do?
Yeah, sorry about that, but it seems like it's a tradition for these.
It's all good. That was fun.
Oh yeah, and just the vines too. So far, people are approaching the 2-hour 7 mark, still doing pretty well. Still, I think it can be anyone's race. I'm trying to kind of get in my head who's got what left. I think it's mostly an item rush right now. And Lisa asking the decision.
No, actually, Ultima's looking for the king, so we're not just on items. Yeah.
Very nice. So a bit of NPCs and items here. Oh wow, he didn't get the metal enemies here. I was like, I'm pretty sure he did clear the rest of the fire shrine though. So more of those scorpions to take on. As Queen Anne clears the rest of the Model Town 1. See what he finds there. And he finds Side Grandpa. That's okay. But we're looking for items or the king, not a conversation. So let's keep going on that. See where it goes further. Oh, now he has to get that one. I wonder if that has a useful item for him. Or does he have all the items? But that's the fun of this one. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been in a lot of seeds where it's just like you think you have everything, but it's just the one item or NPC that's stopping you from go time. But all good stuff. All right, so we have a little bit of world checks here, as Queenie is also going through the basement more now that she has weapons that can defeat the enemies here, which is definitely a plus. And we've got some checks of the painting, so everyone's still doing a great job so far.
Oh, Ultima went to the painting without. Okay. Oh, that's
There's
where
the
he
king.
was. Okay.
There we
I
go.
remembered he was
So
in the painting. I didn't go to the painting, but without the. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just curious if he's going to check the other, or maybe he already got those other checks there. So
That might have been his last thing. Oh.
yeah, I'll see here. I'm trying to. Oh, he must have all that stuff because I think he's going to talk to the Mountain King to do dancing grandmas. Yep, it looks like he's able to do that. Dancing grandma time. All right, there's your song. Thank y'all. That was a pretty good one. Oh, forgot the last part of the song. The end. There we go. Flame ball. That's where that was. All right. And oh man, you're mean, X-Man. Lisa's waiting for an answer. That's okay.
Oh. Should I promise to come back? Yes or yes.
Yeah, sure. You know, it's a pretty it's a tough decision. You might need a few minutes, but I totally understand. Advantage is if you do that, then you might get to the part of the credits where we see Laura Dern as
Right.
or Lisa. So, all right, and Ultima is going on further. He is going to talk to the king to open up that path in the world map to Area 7. So, looks like he is all ready to go there. An extremely good job here. There we go. Now we'll be able to see more of the lovely credits of this game. All right, and Queenie is getting through the rest of that dungeon there, doing a great job. What a sunset there. Beautiful sunset.
All
Although
of the
it's-
creatures looked up at the sunset.
Yep. And though right now it's probably about 9 o'clock your time, so if it was sunset now, I'd probably be worried, but
Yeah.
Queenie's getting a little bit further, and she's got right tower. I think that was an important part of this race for Speed.
Was there anything in the right tower?
You didn't go in the right tower?
No, I went in the right tower. I don't
Oh.
remember if there was anything. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Maybe
Might
there.
not have had as much.
Oh.
I'm just gonna see here. Things
Yeah, I know. I never got the last soldier. I couldn't do the Leo cutscene.
Yeah. Well, the only thing you miss out on is the question now at the end. You'll have to just watch the replay and find out what he had. But it's all good stuff. Yeah, as Ultima makes his way through the world of evil, which has, you can see the walls that are just bare insulation with floating plates of evil drywall, because they could not get them to stick to the walls. No wonder Death Toll's mad, but all right. But also those floating plates give the best experience in the game. As one detail as well, players need to be level 24 to swing the Soul Blade in order to cast the Phoenix spell. So, very important detail there. Oh, the Walls of Experience, yes. Oh, yep. Totally Laura Dern for that cutscene. And we have Ultima facing off against Death Toll right now, as Queenie is continuing to go on through Leo's basement. Still doing a fantastic job as we approach the 2-hour 15 mark. Found a reward mouse. Finding more stuff. And Ultima is right now dodging the flames, doing the best he can. Also dealing with the leg that actually has been reduced. Since one detail I forgot to mention is with that fast ROM hack applied, that leg that normally during other runs of this you need to navigate a little bit, kind of defeat the enemies to reduce that leg. This kind of takes care of that, so it's no longer a concern. Again, shout outs to Kondawantu for that one. And Queenie is almost done with basement, taking the path just to get out there, also hanging on to those gems, not a bad plan. See where she goes next. Or some item checks. There we go. That's one goofy thing sometimes with this game is it seems like the walls will correct your path as you're walking, but NPCs aren't as friendly in that part. So
So that's another thing I
Yeah.
never got. I never got the cats there.
we have Ultima Strike. Congratulations, buddy.
You're talking like your comms and stuff over through Twitch.
Okay. Do you want me to share my screen?
Good
now?
GG's there.
No, you don't have
And
to.
we found Queenie found the soul armor from that plant. And Ultima, final
Hello.
time of 2 hours and 2 hours, 2:15:15. Great job on your race. How did that seed feel for you?
I feel like it could have been faster if I had done metal cleanup a lot. If I had done metal cleanup a lot earlier, I feel like it would have gone closer to 2 hours. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to lay that off for a while, but I definitely would have been done by the time I had done metal cleanup. Probably closer to under 2.
Definitely seems to be. Oh, go ahead, X-Men.
Oh, I was gonna say I got there. I did the painting with the Zantetsu sword, so I was able to get the king earlier. But then I didn't go back and do the scorpions until the end, and that was my go.
I was worried about going into 5 with Nose V Sword because I had not found it, so that's why I was doing my overworld checks a lot more. Just trying to do that cleanup before going into 5.
That caught me on my test run of this one for sure. I think, I think my final time on this was 2:30 something. So y'all are kicking
Wow.
butt. So. But I think it's definitely the two dominant strats. It seems like on this is either clearing everything as you go, almost before you move forward, clear what you can, or just keep moving forward to get the faster experience and whatnot. But you do run the risk of missing some of those details. I guess y'all kind of find yourself veering towards one strategy or the other, or kind of a mix. We can start with you, Ultima.
So it's more you have to think about density partially when you're making these decisions on where to go. Because one of the things is that I know one of our community members, Lost Core, does. He tends to push forward, and it's mostly like when you get Act 4 early, Act 3 early. But the issue is that when you are below certain levels for threshold, like for defense and attack, you are going to take a lot longer to progress in that act. Like, say, early Act 4, when we were stuck with Sword of Life forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that strat's highly dependent on some skill to be able to deal with like the Act 4 enemies, which is doable for most of them, but it takes some practice.
It's mainly the bats that cause most of the damage because of their movement and how close you have to be to actually be able to swat them. Unless you come in with like magic, then they're easy. But the biggest issue really is you need to also make sure you're not getting hit because the enemies will kill you very fast.
Yeah, you can find your hit points kind of draining very quickly as you kind of take on those different areas, taking on that risk, especially if you're sort of life no armor and trying to go on to area 4 with like level 8, for example. But
I was thinking about it. But the only other thing was I thought about doing Durian early.
Mhm.
The only issue with Durian with St. Els is that you need an HP threshold to survive the lava. Because that lava ticks you for 4 per tick. And it sucks. So you have to think, do you have magic to be able to survive? If you don't have magic, then you're going to have to either at least bring a mech orb. But at level 8, you really don't have enough HP to at least survive the lava portion.
Yeah,
You usually
very
need
true.
at least level 12 minimum.
Yeah. I've had some good times where I almost got to that last layer only to realize that I ran out of hit points. So definitely a bit of caution you have to be mindful of, especially on some of those parts. But looks like compared to myself on this, y'all didn't lose your hit points as much as I did at Durian. So definitely gotta commend y'all for that one. One thing I must say with the donation total, we are, as Phoenix asked about, we got to 500. So thank y'all so much. Keep up with those great donations. And is there any other donations that we can be read at this time?
No, there's no other donations, but just to give you guys a heads up, we are going to have to cut away to the next race within the next couple of minutes. So if you want to wrap up with final thoughts before we head on out.
Okay. Well, I will say Queen did a great job on this. This is how runs can go sometimes, but still doing fantastic. Just keep up with, just no downtime is probably one of the biggest things you can say or do. But you got anything, Ultima? Isn't quick.
I want to say that this randomizer right here, this is one of the easiest entry randomizers I've ever found, to be fair. And I recommend giving it a try, even if you're new to randomizers, because the gameplay's simple and just learning it, there's not a whole lot of technical knowledge needed.
And if you join the Discord, we're more than happy to help y'all. So. And Axeman, do you have any words you'd like to share before call this good?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having us, and it's always fun to get out and show off our rando here, and I hope everyone had fun.
Yeah, and I just saw in the chat some more links were passed for randoblazer.com/weekly. That's very good if you want to get into the weekly asynchronous races. You can also go to randomizer.com if you want to get yourself just a kind of create your own little seed as well. So lots of good places here, and great community and great programmers that we have kind of putting their time towards this. So thank you all so much for watching.
You know, and thank you all for coming out, representing the Soul Blazer randomizer community really well. We're going to sign off here. I am Phoenix. My shift here as the host is done, but I'll still be in the background tracking donations. So if you want to hear more dad jokes, more than happy to jump in. But let's get the incentives going on. We've got Deus Ex coming up. Maddie's going to be your host right after me. And with that, we're going to take a step away and set up for the next run, Deus Ex. Thank you.
Thank y'all.